The void of space held many terrors, but none so terrifying as hope, t least. That's what Admiral Voltan Dresch of the Quilthian Armada believed as he gazed out the viewport of the command deck. His 6 appendages twitched nervously against the cold metal floor, while his primary optical cluster scanned the tactical displays. "Anything yet?" he barked, mandibles clicking with impatience. Lieutenant Nara Pex shook her head, antenna drooping slightly. "Nothing, sir. Just the same distress signal on repeat." Dresch scowled, an expression that involved the contortion of 15 facial muscles and the release of a pheromone that made junior officers instinctively back away. "Play it again." The scratchy recording filled the command deck. "This is Captain Joro Mock of the Trilaxian research vessel Distant Horizon. We have encountered something unknown origin, extremely hostile. Please send immediate military assistance to coordinates attached. I repeat, immediate military assistance required. They are unlike anything we have. Oh gods, they're through the hull. They are static, and still no response from the 23 ships we have dispatched." Dresch asked, already knowing the answer. "No, sir," replied Lieutenant Pex. "The last transmission from the Quilthian dreadnought, Inevitable Victory, was simply, 'They are here.'" Dresch's secondary heart began pumping faster. The Inevitable Victory was the pride of their fleet, 12,000 crew members and enough firepower to glass a small moon. Whatever had destroyed, it was beyond their conventional understanding of warfare. "Sir," called out communications officer Xylo Brandt from his station. "We are receiving an encrypted transmission from High Command." The hollow projector in the center of the deck buzzed to life, revealing the translucent blue figure of Grand Marshal Teprix, her exoskeleton gleaming even through the projection. "Admiral Dresch," she began without preamble, "the situation has escalated. The Galactic Council has classified this as a Level 9 extinction level threat." Dresch's third eye widened involuntarily. "Level 9? There hasn't been a Level 9 in 3 centuries. For actually," Teprix corrected, "the Council has authorized extraordinary measures. You are to hold position and await the arrival of specialized assistance. With respect, Marshal, what specialized assistance could possibly? They call themselves humans," Teprix interrupted, her voice dropping to something approaching reverence, or possibly fear. "They're sending one ship." "One ship?" Dresch couldn't keep the incredulity from his voice. His chromatophores flashed bright orange with alarm. "Marshal, we have lost 24 vessels to this threat. Whatever it is has destroyed the most advanced warships in 3 sectors without leaving so much as debris. And the Council's response is one ship from some species I have never heard of." The Grand Marshal's image flickered as she leaned closer. "Admiral, the humans are different. The Council keeps them contained to their sector for a reason. They are a restricted species." "Restricted? Like the Void Krakens of Bellatrix?" "No, worse. The Void Krakens are merely dangerous. Humans are," she seemed to search for the right word, "unpredictable." Before Dresch could respond, a junior officer called out, "Sir, unknown vessel approaching. It's small, approximately 1/20th the size of our cruiser." "Visual," Dresch commanded. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a sleek, angular craft that seemed almost primitive compared to Quilthian technology. It was painted matte black with red stripes and bizarre symbols along its hull. "They are hailing us, sir." On screen, the view changed to show the interior of the small craft. Dresch had to suppress a gasp. The creature on screen was bipedal, covered in some kind of synthetic material rather than proper scales or exoskeleton, with a flat face dominated by forward-facing eyes and a disturbing quantity of exposed teeth. It was smiling? Was that aggression? "Hey, folks," the human said with alarming casualness. "Captain Jamie Blackburn of the Earth Special Tactics Vessel Party Crasher. Heard y'all have a bit of a situation." Dresch blinked all 3 of his eyes in sequence. "Captain Blackburn, I am Admiral Voltan Dresch of the Quilthian Armada. We have lost 24 ships to an unknown hostile force. The Galactic Council informed us you would be providing assistance." The human's expression changed slightly. 24 ships? Damn, these things don't mess around, do they? What exactly are we dealing with? Unknown. The distress signals mention entities breaching hulls, but we have no visual confirmation. Every ship we have sent has simply disappeared. The human nodded, typing something on a console off-screen. Classic. Well, I have seen this movie before. Mind sending over the coordinates? Movie? I don't understand. Just an expression, Admiral. Means I have dealt with similar situations. You have encountered this specific threat before. Not specifically, no, but dangerous, unknown entities breaching hulls and making entire ships disappear? That's Tuesday for us. The human grinned again, displaying those unsettling teeth. So, coordinates? Dresch gestured to Lieutenant Pex, who transmitted the data. Fantastic, said Blackburn, examining something off-screen. We will head over and check it out. You folks might want to keep your distance, though. Things could get messy. Captain, Dresch said slowly, perhaps you misunderstand. We have lost our most powerful warships to this threat. Your vessel is, forgive me, but it's tiny. Do you have reinforcements coming? The human made an odd sound, a sort of rhythmic expulsion of air that Dresch's translator couldn't interpret. Nope, just us. The Party Crasher is a specialized containment and elimination vessel. Small but mighty, as we say. Your crew complement. Six. Dresch's chromatophores flashed crimson with shock. 6 crew members? Against something that destroyed 24 ships with crews of thousands. The human's expression shifted to something more serious. Admiral, I get your concern. But trust me, this is kind of our thing. Humanity's specialty is dealing with the stuff that scares the rest of the galaxy. It's why the Council keeps us on speed dial for situations like this. Speed dial, another expression. Look, we're going to head to the last known coordinates. You can follow at a safe distance if you want to observe, but I wouldn't get closer than 50,000 kilometers. Dresch felt his grip appendages tighten around the command rail. Captain Blackburn, as ranking military officer in this sector, I cannot in good conscience allow you to, with all due respect, Admiral, Blackburn interrupted, you don't have jurisdiction over us. Council Directive 773 B grants us operational autonomy in level 9 scenarios. We're going in. Your choice if you want to watch. The human's face softened slightly. But seriously, stay back. These things rarely end cleanly. The transmission cut. Lieutenant Pex looked up from her console. Sir, they're moving toward the coordinates at. That can't be right. What is it? They have achieved speeds we thought theoretically impossible without entering subspace. They will reach the target area in approximately 17 minutes. Dresch stared at the screen, watching the tiny human vessel shrink into the distance. Follow them. Maintain a distance of 55,000 kilometers. Sir, Pex questioned. You heard me, Lieutenant. I want to see what these humans are capable of, and whether the Council's faith is justified. Yes, sir. Setting course now. As the cruiser's engines rumbled to life, Admiral Dresch couldn't shake the feeling that he was about to witness something that would fundamentally change his understanding of the universe. 17 minutes later, they arrive at the edge of the Corvin system, an unremarkable yellow star with 3 gas giants and a smattering of rocky planets. According to the logs, the Trilaxian research vessel had been studying unusual radiation patterns from the system's asteroid belt when they encountered whatever it was. Visual on the human ship, Dresch asked, Yes, sir. They're approaching the asteroid belt now. The main screen showed the Party Crasher moving with surprising agility for a spacecraft, weaving between floating rocks with the grace of something evolved for space rather than constructed. Are they scanning the area? Officer Brandt checked his readings. Yes, but their sensor methodology is unlike anything I've seen before. They're using some kind of quantum entanglement system that doesn't emit detectable radiation. How do you know they're scanning then? Because they're sending us the data, Brandt replied, sounding puzzled. They have established a secure channel and are narrating their findings? Put it through. A female human voice filled the command deck, picking up organic residue on several of these asteroids. Definitely not natural. DNA analysis shows multiple species. Quilthian, Trilaxian, Vordax, that it didn't just destroy those ships, they absorbed them somehow. A different human voice responded, "Lovely. Just what we needed. Space vampires. Technically not vampires. Marcus. More like space amoebas with teeth. How big are we talking, Dr. Phillips? Based on these readings? Big. Like could swallow our ship without noticing big. Fantastic. Everyone hear that? We are looking for space amoebas the size of small moons. Should be easy to spot." Dresch exchanged glances with his senior officers. The humans seemed almost casual about the situation. "I'm detecting movement in the debris field," a new human voice reported. 3 o'clock, about 2,000 meters out. "Got it. Weapons hot, people." Tasha prepped the containment field. "Marcus, give me full power to the forward shields." "What if they are friendly?" asked yet another voice. This one, sounding younger, and a chorus of human laughter followed. "Sure, kid. And maybe they ate 24 ships by accident. Keep those containment fields ready." Dresch watched in fascination as the party crasher changed course, heading directly toward a particularly dense cluster of asteroids. "Sir," Lieutenant Pex said urgently, "I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations in that region. Something's there. The humans see it too," Officer Brand added. "They're accelerating toward it." Admiral Dresch couldn't believe what he was witnessing. They are heading toward the threat? Are they insane? As if in answer to his question, Captain Blackburn's voice came through the channel. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have visual confirmation of our target." Dr. Phillips was right. It's an entity approximately 4 kilometers in diameter with a semi-transparent outer membrane. I'm seeing internal structures that look suspiciously like digested spacecraft. And, oh wow, that's a lot of teeth for something with no apparent head. "Sensor readings?" asked one of the other humans. "Off the charts. This thing is putting out enough bioenergy to power a small planet. Definitely extra-universal in origin." "Extra-universal?" Dresch whispered. "They are implying it's from outside our universe, sir," explained Science Officer Trega, her scales paling. "A multidimensional intruder." On screen, the party crasher had stopped just outside the asteroid field. The space between several large rocks seemed to shimmer, like heat waves above desert sand. "We are being scanned," reported one of the humans. "It knows we are here." "Good," replied Captain Blackburn. "Let's introduce ourselves properly. Fire warning shot, low yield, 10 meters off its front, whatever." A beam of blinding white energy lands from the small ship, striking an asteroid near the shimmering distortion. The rock didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, as if erased from reality. That Dresch's mandibles went slack. "What kind of weapon is that?" "Unknown, sir," Officer Traeger replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Our sensors can't classify it." On the view screen, the shimmering area between the asteroids suddenly expanded, revealing a vast, gelatinous mass studded with what looked like thousands of crystalline formations. As they watched, the formations rearranged themselves to form what was unmistakably an enormous maw. "It didn't like that," observed Captain Blackburn with remarkable calm. "It's taking an aggressive posture." "Tasha, containment fields at maximum. Everyone else, battle stations. Let's show this thing why humans have a restricted species classification." What followed was unlike any battle Admiral Dresch had witnessed in his 2 centuries of military service. The creature, this extra-universal entity, moved with impossible speed for its size, lashing out with tentacle-like projections that seemed to phase in and out of normal space. Each time one came close to the human vessel, a shimmering field would appear, causing the tentacle to recoil as if burned. The party crasher darted around the massive entity, firing precise shots from weapons Dresch couldn't identify. Some beams seemed to fold space itself. Others released what looked like miniature black holes that tore chunks from the creature's mass. Sir Lieutenant Pex reported, her voice filled with awe, "The humans are winning." Indeed, the massive entity was shrinking, its semi-transparent body convulsing as the party crasher continued its assault. With each hit, the creature emitted pulses of radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum. Screaming, Dresch realized with horror. They were hearing it scream. They're not just attacking it, Officer Trago observed. They're containing it somehow. Look, those fields they are generating are creating some kind of pocket dimension. As they watched, the creature made one final, desperate lunge toward the human ship. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed the party crasher would be engulfed. Then a blinding flash lit up the view screen, forcing everyone on the Quilthian command deck to shield their eyes. When the light faded, the creature was gone. "Signal from a human ship, sir," reported Officer Brandt. "Put them through." Captain Blackburn's face appeared on screen. The human looked slightly disheveled, with a small cut above one eye leaking red fluid, but was still wearing that unnerving tooth display. Well, that was bracing. Entity contained, Admiral. We have placed it in a pocket dimension where it can't harm anyone else. Crisis averted. Dresch stared at the human in disbelief. "You contained it? Just like that. Just like that. Admiral, we have been fighting that thing for nearly an hour. Lost 2 containment generators and nearly had our port side hull breached. But yeah, we got it. Had it really been an hour?" Dresch checked his chronometer. The human was right. "What exactly was it?" he asked. "We are calling it a dimensional lamprey. Likely slipped through a weak point in the universal membrane about 6 standard months ago. Been feeding on ships to gather enough energy for reproduction. If we gotten here a week later, you'd have had a dozen of these things to deal with." Dresch felt a cold shiver run along his carapace. "And you have encountered such entities before?" "Similar ones. The multiverse is full of hungry things, Admiral. Most species never have to worry about them because, well..." The human grinned again. "That's what we are for." "I see." Dresch didn't see. Not really. But he was beginning to understand why the Galactic Council kept humans restricted to their sector. "What happens now?" "Now, we take the specimen back to Earth for study, write up a report for the Council, and go find the next nightmare. Speaking of which, we should get moving. Containing these things isn't permanent. More like a really secure pet carrier. You are taking it with you. Of course. Can't just leave it floating around, and we can't destroy it without potentially tearing a hole in space-time. Don't worry, we have got specialized facilities for housing these things." Dresch wanted to ask more questions, hundreds of them, but something in the human's casual confidence suggested that perhaps he was better off not knowing the answers. "The Quilthian Empire thanks you for your assistance, Captain Blackburn. Happy to help, Admiral. If you encounter anything else like this, you know who to call." The human made a gesture with their hand near their head. Blackburn out. The transmission ended. Lieutenant Pex approached cautiously. "Sir, your orders." Admiral Dresch stared at the now empty space where the creature had been. "Set course back to Quilthian space and prepare a full report for High Command." "What should I tell them about the humans, sir?" Dresch considered this for a long moment. "Tell them," he said finally, "that we should be very, very grateful that humans are on our side, and pray to all known deities that they stay that way." As the cruiser turned away from the Corvin system, Dresch couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lurked beyond the veil of known space, and what other secrets the humans kept in their restricted sector. For the first time in his long career, he found himself hoping never to find out 0.3 standard cycles later. Admiral Voltan Dresch stood before the Quilthian High Council, his carapace polished to a ceremonial sheen as he concluded his report. And that, esteemed counselors, is how a single human vessel neutralized a threat that destroyed 24 of our most advanced ships. He clicked his mandibles in what passed for a solemn bow. "I have included all sensor data and communications logs in my formal submission." The chamber remained silent for several uncomfortable moments. Grand Marshal Teprix was the first to speak, her exoskeleton gleaming under the council chamber's lights. "This report is disturbing, Admiral. You are certain about the technology you witnessed? Weapons that erase matter? Containment fields that create pocket dimensions?" "Yes, Marshal. Our science division has analyzed the data extensively. The capabilities demonstrated by the human vessel far exceed our theoretical understanding of physics." Counselor Wrath, the eldest of the Quilthian leadership, leaned forward. "And they treated this encounter as routine. Their exact words were, 'That's Tuesday for us, sir.' Another uncomfortable silence. "We have received confirmation from the Galactic Council," Marshal Teprix finally said. "The threat has indeed been neutralized. The humans delivered the entity to a facility called Tartarus Detention Alpha on their homeworld." Dresh's antenna twitched with surprise. They actually transported a live specimen across 16 sectors. Apparently so. The Galactic Council seems equally impressed and concerned. Teprix turned to address the entire chamber. "This incident highlights what many of us have feared. The humans' containment to their sector isn't just for the galaxy's protection. It's for ours as well." "I don't understand," said Dresh. "They helped us. Saved countless lives." "Yes, agreed, Counselor's Wrath. But consider the implications, Admiral. This single ship, with only 6 crew members, possessed technology centuries beyond our most advanced research. If they decided to expand beyond their borders..." He left the thought unfinished. Dresh felt his secondary heart flutter anxiously. Surely the Galactic Council has contingencies. The glances exchanged among the counselors told him everything. "I see," he said quietly. "Admiral," Marshal Teprix spoke carefully, "your encounter report is hereby classified Level 0. No dissemination, not even among senior command." "Yes, Marshal. You are dismissed, Admiral Dresh. The Council thanks you for your service." As Dresh turned to leave, Counselor's Wrath called out, "One more thing, Admiral. The Council has received a request. The humans wish to establish a joint task force. They have asked specifically for you to serve as liaison." Dresh froze mid-step. "Me? What?" "Apparently, Captain Blackburn was impressed by your tactical restraint, as they put it. The request came directly from something called Terran Defense Initiative. What should I tell them?" Marshal Teprix and Counselor's Wrath exchanged another meaningful look. "Accept the position," Teprix said finally. "Learn what you can about them. But remember, they're not to be trusted completely. Not until we understand what they truly are." 2 weeks later, Admiral Dresh found himself aboard a Quilthian diplomatic vessel approaching Earth's orbit. The blue-green planet looked deceptively ordinary, one of countless life-bearing worlds scattered throughout the galaxy. Yet something about it made his exoskeleton itch. "We are being hailed, sir," reported his communications officer. "It's unusual." "Unusual how?" "It's audio only, and it's..." The officer hesitated. Music, a rhythmic sound filled the bridge. Instruments Dresh couldn't identify, playing a driving beat, while a human voice sang about a highway to danger areas or something similar. "When the 7 moons," muttered Dresh. The music abruptly cut off, replaced by Captain Blackburn's voice. "Sorry about that, Admiral. Couldn't resist. Welcome to Sol System. We have prepped a berth for your ship at Argus Station. Transmitting coordinates now." Dresh gestured for his navigator to accept the data. "Thank you, Captain. I admit I'm curious about this task force you have proposed." "All in good time, Admiral. We will give you the grand tour once you are aboard." Blackburn out. As they approached the massive space station orbiting Earth, Dresh was struck by its unusual design. Unlike the elegant, symmetrical constructions favored by most spacefaring civilizations, the human station was a hodgepodge of modules, antennae, and docking arms jutting out at seemingly random angles. "It looks like they built it without a plan," observed Lieutenant Pex, who had insisted on accompanying him. "Or they altered the plan many times," Dresh replied. "Note the different architectural styles. I suspect this station has been expanded repeatedly over many years." Their ship docked with surprising ease despite the station's chaotic appearance. As the airlock cycled, Dresh prepared himself for the diplomatic niceties that surely awaited them. Formal greetings, ceremonial exchanges, the usual tedium of first contact protocols. What he got instead was Captain Blackburn, dressed in what appeared to be casual clothing, accompanied by a diverse group of humans in similar attire. "Admiral Dresh, welcome aboard Argus Station." The human extended a hand, a greeting gesture Dresh had been briefed about. He awkwardly extended a grasping appendage in return, allowing the human to shake it. "These are my colleagues. Dr. Olivia Phillips, our xenobiology expert. Marcus Tennyson, weapons specialist; Tasha Corey, containment engineer; and our newest recruit, Will Parker. The youngest human nodded nervously. An honor, sir. The honor is mine, Dresch replied formally. I have brought Lieutenant Pex as my attaché and technical advisor. Excellent. Blackbunkind. Well, let's skip the boring diplomatic stuff. I'm guessing you want to see what this is all about. Dresch blinked in surprise. Yes, that would be preferable. Great. Follow me. As they walked through the station's corridors, Dresch was struck by the controlled chaos of the place. Unlike Quilthian facilities with their strict organizational protocols, the human station seemed to operate on a completely different philosophy. Crew members of various species, not just humans, moved with purpose but without the rigid formations he was accustomed to. Some nodded respectfully as Blackburn passed. Others barely acknowledged the group. Your station houses multiple species, Dresch inquired. Oh yeah, Blackburn replied casually. TDI works with specialists from across the galaxy. That's Corvin, our Arcturian sensor tech. He pointed to a crystalline entity floating in what appeared to be a specialized environment suit. And over there's Dr. Thal, Varaxian medical specialist. But human space is restricted, Lieutenant Pex blurted out before she could stop herself. Blackburn's smile didn't falter. Officially, yes. But the Galactic Council makes exceptions for TDI personnel. We need the best minds if we're going to keep dealing with extra-dimensional nasties. They arrived at a massive set of doors marked with warning symbols in multiple languages. This, Blackburn said with a touch of pride, is the containment wing, where we keep our guests. The doors parted to reveal a vast chamber. The center was occupied by a circular control station surrounded by dozens of transparent tubes extending from floor to ceiling. Each tube contained something. Dresch's optical cluster struggled to process what he was seeing. Welcome to the menagerie, said Dr. Phillips, stepping forward. Currently housing 47 entities that don't belong in our universe. Dresch approached one of the tubes, which contained what appeared to be a cloud of shifting darkness punctuated by occasional flashes of light. What is this one? We call a void weaver. Feeds on stellar radiation. Found converting an entire star system's worth of planets into breeding grounds. And this? Lieutenant Pex asked, pointing to another tube that seemed to contain nothing but air. Careful with that one, warned Tasha Corey. It's a phase specter. Exists primarily in a dimension adjacent to ours. It can only interact with our reality when certain electromagnetic conditions are met. How do you contain such things? Dresch asked, unable to keep the awe from his voice. That's my specialty, Corey replied with evident pride. Each containment system is customized to the entity inside. Some require temporal stasis fields, others antimatter barriers. A few are kept in artificial pocket dimensions that mirror their native environments. And your newest acquisition, Dresch inquired, the entity from the Corvin system? Blackburn led them to a larger containment unit at the far end of the chamber. Inside was the shimmering, gelatinous mass they had encountered. Noticeably smaller, but still intimidating. We have been studying it, Dr. Phillips explained, bringing up data on a nearby console. It's fascinating, really. The entity exists simultaneously in our dimension and at least two others. It feeds on energy by absorbing matter and converting it through a process we don't fully understand yet. But it's not the only one, Blackburn added grimly. Which brings us to why we asked for you, Admiral. Dresch turned to face the human captain. I've been wondering about that. Follow me. They exited the containment wing and proceeded deeper into the station. Eventually, they reached a door labeled simply TIO, Threat Intelligence Operations. Blackburn explained before Dresch could ask. This is where the real work happens. The room beyond was dark except for the glow of dozens of holographic displays. Humans and aliens alike worked at various stations, monitoring what appeared to be surveillance feed from across the galaxy. But the center stood a large three-dimensional map of known space, with numerous points marked in red. Each red marker, Blackburn said quietly, represents a confirmed breach point, places where the membrane between dimensions has been weakened or punctured. Dresch counted at least 30 such markers. So many. And those are just the ones we know about. The reality is, Admiral, our universe is under siege. Has been for decades. Most spacefaring civilizations never notice because we deal with the incursions before they become public knowledge. Why keep this secret? Lieutenant Pex asked. Surely the various governments should be informed? The youngest human, Will Parker, laughed bitterly. Yeah, because interstellar panic is exactly what we need. Dr. Phillips shot him a warning look before explaining. The Galactic Council made a decision long ago. Knowledge of extra-dimensional threats would destabilize developing civilizations and potentially cause mass hysteria even among advanced ones. So they contain the knowledge, just as you contain the threats, Dresch concluded. Precisely. Blackbeard nodded. But here's the problem. The incursions are increasing. 5 years ago, we dealt with maybe 1 or 2 breaches a standard cycle. Now we are seeing one every few weeks. Something's changed, and we don't know what. And this is why you want a task force. Yes, we need representatives from key species who can operate with autonomy, make quick decisions, and access resources without going through normal channels. You want me to commit Quilthian military assets without high command authorization, Dresch said, finally understanding. In emergency situations, yes. Blackburn's expression was deadly serious now. The next time we detect a dimensional lamprey, or something worse, we can't afford to wait for bureaucratic approvals. By then, it could be too late. Dresch considered this. Such an arrangement would violate dozens of Quilthian military protocols. Yet he had seen firsthand what these extra-dimensional entities could do. I would need some form of official authorization, he said finally. Already handled, replied Blackburn, producing a data crystal. The Galactic Council has drafted special provisions for TDI operations. The government has signed off on it, classified level 0, naturally. Of course it is, Dresch muttered. Look, said Blackburn, suddenly sounding more serious than Dresch had yet heard him. I get your hesitation. 6 weeks ago, I was just a regular Earth Defense Force captain. Then I encountered something that... He trailed off, his gaze distant. Let's just say I learned the hard way that there are threats out there beyond conventional understanding. Threats that don't care about our politics or borders or species differences. What happened? Lieutenant Pex asked quietly. Lost my first ship, the Relentless. Crew of 93. Only myself and these 4 made it out. He gestured to his team. That's when TDI recruited us. An uncomfortable silence fell over the group. I need air, Dresch said abruptly. Do you have an observation deck? Better, replied Blackburn, seeming relieved at the change of subject. We have a garden. The garden, as it turned out, was a massive biodome on the station's outer ring. Plants from dozens of worlds grew in carefully maintained environments, creating a riot of colors and scents that momentarily overwhelmed Dresch's senses. We find it helps, said Dr. Phillips as they walked along a winding path. Dealing with horrors from beyond reality. You need something beautiful to remind you what you are fighting for. Dresch stopped before a flowering plant he recognized from his homeworld. Quilthian night blooms. How did you get these? We try to include flora from all our member species' worlds, she explained. Makes the station feel a little more like home for everyone. They continued walking until they reached a viewing platform overlooking Earth. The planet dominated the view, its swirling white clouds and blue oceans peaceful from this distance. Beautiful world, Lieutenant Pex observed. It is, agreed Captain Blackburn, joining them at the railing. Worth protecting. Your species is an enigma, Captain, Dresch said after a moment. The galaxy fears you, restricts you. Yet here you are, defending all of us from threats we don't even know exist. Blackburn smiled highly. Humanity has a complicated history, Admiral. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times before we reached the stars. The violence, the drive, the ingenuity that makes us such effective hunters of interdimensional horrors, those same traits made us dangerous neighbors. The restriction was your idea, wasn't it? Dresch realized. Not the Council's. Let's just say it was a mutual agreement. We recognized our own capacity for problematic expansion. and the galaxy recognized our unique utility against certain threats. A convenient arrangement. For everyone, yes. A soft alarm chimed, and Blackburn checked a device on his wrist. His expression darkened. "What is it?" asked Dresh. "Potential breach detected. Sector 47, near the Cygnus Arm." "How serious?" "Can't tell yet. Early warning system picked up quantum fluctuations consistent with a dimensional tear. Could be nothing. Could be another lamprey. Could be something worse." Dresh straightened his posture. "Then we should investigate immediately." Blackburn raised an eyebrow. Isn't that why I'm here, Captain? For your task force. You haven't officially accepted the position yet." Dresh exchanged a glance with Lieutenant Pex, who gave him a slight nod. "Consider this my acceptance." For the first time, Blackburn's perpetual confident smile seemed genuine. "Excellent. Welcome to the Terran Defense Initiative, Admiral Dresh. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." "I'm not familiar with that reference," Dresh admitted. "Old Earth movie. I will show you sometime. For now, though, we have got work to do." He tapped his communication device. "All TDI personnel, report to Briefing Room Alpha. Potential breach detected in Sector 47. This is not a drill." As they hurried back through the station's corridors, crew members now moving with clear purpose and urgency, Dresh felt something he hadn't experienced in many cycles. Anticipation. Not fear, not dread, but the electric thrill of facing the unknown with allies who might actually be prepared for it. "Captain," he said as they approached the briefing room, "earlier you mentioned your vessel was called the Party Crasher, an unusual name for a military ship." Blackburn grinned over his shoulder. "Humans have a tradition of gallows humor, Admiral. When you regularly face horrors beyond comprehension, you learn to laugh at the absurdity of it all. And what do you call this new task force of ours?" "We were thinking firewall, because that's what we are, the barrier between this reality and whatever nightmares lurk beyond." "Firewall," Dresh repeated, testing the word. "I like it." They entered the briefing room, where dozens of specialists from multiple species were already gathering. Screens showed the location of the potential breach, a remote system with no inhabited planets. Small mercies, Dresh thought. Captain Blackburn stepped up to a central platform, and the room immediately fell silent. "Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary sentients of all species," he began with that characteristic human confidence. "We have a potential class 3 breach in Sector 47. The Party Crasher will deploy in 30 minutes along with our new allied vessel, the Quilthian cruiser Steadfast Vigilance, under Admiral Dresh's command." Murmurs of surprise rippled through the room. "This is what we have trained for, people. Unknown threat, uncertain parameters, minimal support from conventional forces. Standard containment protocols apply. Dr. Phillips will lead the research team. Lieutenant Curry handles containment systems. Marcus has weapons detail. Admiral Dresh and Lieutenant Pex will coordinate with any Quilthian assets in the sector." He paused, looking around the room at the assembled team. Humans working alongside species that officially they were restricted from even contacting. "I know some of you are new to this. Some of you still have nightmares about your first encounter." His voice softened slightly. "That's normal. The things we face aren't meant to exist in our reality. They don't play by our rules or conform to our understanding of physics or biology. They are terrifying because they should be." The room was utterly silent now. "But remember this, they fear us too. Every entity we have encountered has eventually learned the same lesson. Humanity and its allies don't go quietly. We fight. We adapt. We win." His voice hardened again. "And today will be no different." Dismissed. As the briefing room emptied, personnel rushing to their assignments, Dresh approached Blackburn. "Inspiring speech, Captain. But I noticed you didn't mention what happens if we encounter something we can't contain." Blackburn's ever-present smile faltered for just a moment. "There's always Plan Z, Admiral." "And what is Plan Z?" The human met Dresh's gaze directly. "Let's hope you never have to find out." Before Dresh could press further, Marcus called from across the room. "Captain, breach is expanding. Energy readings are off the charts. Looks like whatever's coming through is big," added Dr. Phillips, studying a holographic display. Really big. Blackburn's smile returned, but there was something predatory about it now. Then we better bring our A-game. Admiral Dresch, ready to make history. Dresch straightened to his full height, mandibles clicking with determination. The Quilthian Empire has defended its borders for 10,000 years, Captain. We don't intend to stop now. That's the spirit. Firewall team, move out. As they rushed toward the docking bay, Dresch couldn't help but reflect on the strange turns his career had taken. 3 cycles ago, he'd been a conventional military commander in a universe he thought he understood. Now he was part of a secret task force, alongside a restricted species, preparing to face horrors from beyond reality itself. And strangest of all, for the first time in cycles, he felt truly alive. Whatever awaited them in Sector 47, whatever nightmares lurked beyond the dimensional veil, they would face it together. Humans, Quilthians, and all the other species represented on Firewall Team. The galaxy might fear humans, might keep them contained and restricted. But Dresch now understood why the Galactic Council turned to them when the situation was truly dire. Because when the darkness came, when things from beyond the stars threatened everything they knew, you wanted humans on your side. Their unpredictability, their adaptability, their strange mixture of fatalistic humor and unbreakable determination made them the perfect guardians against threats no one else could comprehend. As the party crasher and steadfast vigilance prepared for departure, Captain Blackburn appeared beside him one last time. Ready for another Tuesday, Admiral Dresch clicked his mandibles in what humans might mistake for a smile. Lead the way, Captain. The universe isn't going to save itself. And with that, the unlikely allies launched toward the unknown, a thin line of defense between reality and the horrors that hungered for it, a firewall against the encroaching dark.